show. And Sunday Morning Brews, absolutely killing it. The one, the only, future Canadian champion, Gillian the Savage Robertson.
What's up?
Oh, wow. You remembered, Dave.
What's up, G?
You're very red today. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
I don't look at that though. What is that? Is that a robe or a hoodie?
It's actually a hoodie. It's just an extra large hoodie. Dude. So it works as both, I guess.
Right. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I'm a huge hoodie guy, so I'm very jealous over here.
Oh, yeah, I love getting something that's like obnoxiously large for me. So I'm like, this goes like almost down to my knees, but I'm like, it's perfect.
Love it. Those are the best. I have K-Rock gave me like a hoodie. I think it's a weed company actually. And it's like the inside of it's the softest thing ever. And it literally touches the tops of my knees. It's the best thing ever.
It makes sense that it's a weed company. I think it's a stoner thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're just at home in their cozy clothes.
What a life. What a life. Dude, this is a great question. We're a UFC show, but dude, I mean an MMA show. Random question. What shows are y'all into? L, I'll let you take it away, then G. And then I got one.
Right now, Grant and I are rewatching a classic. If you guys missed it when it was out like live, this show came out in 2006. And I used to come home like I think it was on Tuesdays. I would come home. My sister and I would watch this show. We are rewatching Heroes right now. It's the first time Grant's ever seen it.
Incredible. Oh my God.
I forgot how good it was. We're like I think we're well into season 2 right now, but I forgot how good this show was.
So good.
Killer.
Actually never seen it. So
definitely add it to your list for sure.
So I don't know.
It goes bad after season 1 and 2. It goes bad, but 1 and 2 is awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I heard it, but somebody was talking about the show Dexter. So that's what got me into it. So I've started watching that. Gotta say, I've been critiquing his technique, some of the chokes he has. Just got to work on his head positioning something. Yeah. But, it's hilarious, though, because I'm like, the way he chokes people is kind of like me with no hooks. So
I actually haven't seen that show, but I've heard nothing but good things. So
it's good for a couple seasons. I want to say like around like 4 and 5. It has 7 or 8 seasons, I think.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. Gee, I'm top 5 most G person ever. Season 4 of Dexter is the best season of all time of any show. Of any show. Yes.
Any show, Dave.
People will back me up. It's like ranked. It's one of the greatest TV series shows seasons of all time. It's the Trinity Killer. Are you on that one yet, G?
Yeah, I want to say the 6th one is where I stopped watching.
Yeah,
it
goes downhill after that. It does. The ending's really cool. Season 4, mind blowing. Mind blowing.
All right, I'll give it a try. I'm telling you, it's on our list. It is. But right now,
it's a good show. Really good show.
My show to watch when Grant's not here, because I can't watch Heroes without him, is Lock and Key, which I feel like, once again, the first 2 seasons are like pretty solid. And then it's like, it's starting to get a little like dicey. Like there's a lot of plot holes right now. Like some of the rules that applied in the first season are just like gone for some reason. So I'm in the third season? I can't remember.
Typically speaking on shows, I refuse to go past season 3 because of that. I'm like, there's very rarely a show that you're on a season 3 and you're like, wow, this is still good.
No, that's fair. That's
what happened to Heroes.
Dude, that's a bummer because when I was a kid and I was watching it, I don't think I finished the show. It's been so long I don't remember. And so we're like getting back into it and it's like I'm watching it for the first time again because I remember some of the characters, but I don't really remember what happened. So I'm bummed to hear you say that. From is good too. It's weird and confusing, but From.
I haven't seen that one.
I
like the couple new ones I haven't seen. The one thing I'm watching is probably out of you guys won't want to watch that at all. It was on Netflix. It's like a documentary. The basketball team who just won the gold had like a whole behind the scenes. And it's just like, it's incredible. Like the access that you get. That's why I love Embedded sometimes. Like these are some of the best athletes in the world and like what they're showing and how they get up for a game. And then of course they're in Paris and just like, they're out of their element and stuff. It's really cool. Like the show itself is phenomenal. It's awesome.
I haven't watched that one yet, but I really do enjoy, like, I know they had there's 2 on Netflix, like Receivers,
yes,
the quarterback one, things like that. I love watching those just because it's all the elements of competition. It's like it's all very relatable to fighting. There's also another one actually on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders that was on Netflix
love
too.
that show.
I've
That's
seen
my
that one
guilty
season.
pleasure. It's so good.
Crazy to watch things like that just to see like what these other sports are investing or the mindset that they have to bring to competition. I really think you can like take little bits to your sport from these other sports.
Dude, I'm just impressed with how like well branded and well run the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders franchise is. Like that is a well-oiled freaking machine.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me.
All those girls are part-time though. They got second jobs. I'm like, that's the mind-blowing part to me. I'm like, they are hustlers.
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
It's actually really fun to watch. Don't hate, guys. It's a good show.
Crazy. All right. Hey, dude, great segment right there. Thank you, Sean. What's his Sean? No, Shaw Dog God MMA. Great question.
We'll just call him the God.
Hey, my God, okay?
Me neither.
Dude, yeah. Gee, she's wearing literally a Jesus jersey.
I wore it on Super Bowl Sunday. Did you see my Team Jesus jersey? Somebody asked me if it was a Tampa jersey. I was like, no, it's literally my only
robe.
jersey.
Like I thought it was like a silky robe the first time too. I'm like,
you think we're both just wearing robes here today? Just chill it out.
We can't give the fans that much. That it would go crazy. The comment section would be too.
All right, talking about going crazy. How about a new UFC light heavyweight championship? I know you guys talked about it on Sunday a little bit. A couple of days have went past. Gee, anything change? Anything? Hearing anything or watching anything or reading anything? Did you? How were you? Did you think Ed Kalaev won? What do you think of his performance? What do you think they should do now with him as a champion?
I do think Kalaev won. I don't think it was the most exciting performance to watch necessarily. I think he did what he needed to do to nullify Alex. Just kind of held up against the cage. I was surprised that he wasn't able to actually take him down, which I guess makes me question in my mind, why didn't Alex open up more? Because it's like, if you are stuffing this guy's takedowns, he's not really like, he hasn't been able to get you down once. Where's the loss in confidence of why don't you open up to strike? And there was actually something I wanted to bring up on the Sunday Morning Brew that I forgot. But whenever Bruce Buffer introduced the guys, the one, the only, Alex Bahia, I'm like, do you think he deserves that title next to John Jones and Conor McGregor currently?
No, I don't. I think I'm agreeing because I think you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. John Jones, and like I said, we're not going to have that debate on this show, off air, on air. Inside the octagon, he's the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. Inside the octagon, who he beat, how he beat him, different weights, the greatest of all time. That's facts on this show. The other one, Conor McGregor, and same kind of thing. What he's doing now, and he will never fight again. I'm on Team L on that side. This man will never, ever fight again. But during his run, during what he did for us, for MMA, for the UFC, I think he deserved it too. But that's it. Alex is on a great run. His last year, I thought he was fighter of the year, but even a lot of people had Ilya over him. And that's a fun debate for sure. He's been in the UFC for 2.5, 3 years. That's pretty fast to give it to him. Pretty fast.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Even when Bruce said it initially, it clicked in my mind instantly. I was like, he's only done that for 2 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fact that it happened for Alex, I don't think he's those guys are just, Conor and John are once in a lifetime phenomenons of who they were in the sport of MMA. I'm like, I don't think Alex has solidified himself as that yet.
Yeah. Right. My question to you guys, and let's just say it has to be a third. So Buffer did 3. I think we both agree John and Conor are 2 out of the 3. Who would be your third? I got one that jumped in my head right away. Who would be your third? You want me to tell you mine first?
Yeah, you go first.
And I think people are not going to like this. I think she deserved it. I think she absolutely changed mixed martial arts forever. Ronda Rousey deserved the one and only. And I know she wasn't the greatest fighter. She changed sport.
Was going to be my third.
Okay.
That's valid, but when you said a girl, I thought you were going to go with Amanda, and I think that's a valid third too.
Wow.
She was the only 2 division champ of any female. The way that there is no female who has ever fought like Amanda. She
I agree
is
with that. I agree with that.
just an absolute force of nature in the sport, and I feel like she was something special to the sport. But I'm not arguing with Ronda either, because those are the 2 females who I really think like changed things in the sport.
No, I agree. I will say my one argument for Amanda is I don't know if she reached like superstardom with the fans in the way Ronda Rousey did. But I think overall, obviously, she was the superior fighter. Like she's
for sure
the women's GOAT.
In my head, though, I'm like, Connor is kind of like the Ronda, and John is kind of like the Amanda. Where John isn't necessarily a huge superstar, but who he is as an athlete is like next level phenomenal.
Elite. That's a good point. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. And like I kind of L took it fighting wise, and they fought, and we saw what happened when they fought each other for sure. So like they're not even on different galaxies, but just what Ronda did, like at the time, like again, like I'm not going over old history, but Dana's like, no, females won't ever fight under the banner. But she was so big and so polarizing and so fun and so, just popular. It's like, hey, we got to get her in here. Like she's gonna sell. She's gonna bring us business. And then that run, guys, like I know everyone remembers the losses at the end, but she did have a 3-year run. So she was like washing people in the first round, like just armbar after armbar. It's like, and I know Amanda was definitely better inside the cage for sure, but like I agree, I don't think she ever like got so big.
Well, it's funny because when casual fans like talk to female fighters, like people who know I shouldn't even say casual fans, people who know nothing about MMA talk to female fighters, be like, you think you'll ever fight Ronda? They'll literally still ask you that. I've literally been asked that question multiple times. Nobody's ever asked that question about Amanda Nunes.
The only 2 questions are, will you ever fight Ronda, and have you ever met Connor? The only 2 questions.
But like people who've never seen a fight in their lives know who Ronda Rousey is, So I agree. And like we probably wouldn't be fighting, without Ronda Rousey, Betch Kohea, that generation pioneering it,
Speaking of like series, there's actually a really cool series that's coming out. Well, like they have like I think 5 or 6 episodes. They come out every week on Amazon Prime. It's called The Dark Side of the Cage, and it goes into like I don't know, just different stories in MMA. And they have one about like the disappearance of Ronda Rousey. But yeah, it's a really cool series. They're like I think they just have 1 episode come out a week right now.
It's on Prime, you said?
Yeah, it's on Prime.
The Dark Side.
I want to watch it. I think we got to watch this episode and then come back. We'll do a post show on the episode, like our takes on it.
Ooh, that's a great idea. G, you have to come join us for that. We need to do just a random show. I was talking to Karolina Kovalkiewicz about this the other day. I was like, I want to have you on my show, but I know you don't have a fight. She's like, ooh, we can talk about true crime. And I was like, I'm going to do a true crime episode with KK.
True story. My wife's birthday is Friday. I went to the store and bought her a true crime book for her birthday on Friday. She's going to love it. She doesn't watch the show, so she has no idea.
I was going to say, you're ruining the surprise already.
She has no idea. And it's one of those ones, it's called Myrtle. Like, you know how like Wordle is so big? It's like you have to like do the book and like figure out who did the crime with the murder. She's going to love it.
That's actually a really cool present.
Yeah. I'm going to say my kids got it for her. It's all about the kids. It's Taylor and Emmy got it for her. Vice had a bunch different Dark Side of the Day. Dude, I love that. Yeah, dude, Joshua Van interview just dropped. Guys, what we'll do after the show, I will break down just that interview and drop it on its own. He was awesome, dude. I love kind of meeting people for the first time through this show, and like I thought he was great. Very fun guy.
Gillian, in case you didn't feel old today, Joshua Van is young enough that he came up not knowing who Demetrius Johnson was. Just in case you
I know, gee,
I wasn't feeling old yet.
His MMA moment, his like mine was like I think everyone like I did watch it beforehand, but like I remember at high school telling my friends, "Hey, Stephen Bonner, Forrest Griffin, tough finales coming on. Like, well, you got to watch it. I remember telling my high school friends about that. He said that it was Floyd versus Conor McGregor was the moment that kind of hooked him in combat sports. I was like, what? I was like,
That's
That
crazy.
just happened.
it's like 4 years ago.
Oh my
Maybe a
God.
little bit longer, but
For me, I know, like, I started training before I really started watching fights, honestly. I didn't know MMA existed. I didn't know the UFC existed when I started training. So it wasn't until like after it was probably like a year or two after I started training that I really started like actually liking to watch fights and getting into it a little bit.
wow.
And the one I remember that like really caught my attention the first was Gilbert Melendez and Diego Sanchez.
Oh, that's a great fight. I remember that
Ooh.
fight.
Just went at each other for 3 rounds, blood everywhere. It was a great fight.
Dude, Gilbert Melendez is one of those guys. He's kind of like forgotten in a lot of these legacy MMA talks. Dude, Melendez was a monster. He was so good.
No, he really was.
And kind of when he got to the
Overall
UFC, he was kind of like past his prime a little bit.
I'm gonna look up his overall record. I was like, I wonder
Okay.
what his overall was.
I'm going to say 27-14.
Well, apparently my internet doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. What's your guess, G?
Um, I'll say 23-7.
Wow, G, 22-8.
Oh, so
What?
Gilbert
close.
Melendez's overall record.
What the? That was a phenomenal, G.
This is just like
Wow.
right there. I'm impressed. Yeah, I fought everybody too.
All right.
Like
L.
Strike Force, Josh Thompson,
Oh,
Masvidal, like everybody. Diego Sanchez, Jeremy Stevens, Edson, Eddie Alvarez. What a guy.
Yeah,
What a
dude,
guy.
monster. L, I'm giving you another trump card. Are you ready?
Oh,
So earlier, G, before you came on the show, Friday I was calling Island Fights. I wish you were there, co-hosting, doing the commentary with me. Not going to get into it. Let's talk off air. So I said I can't. I drove through the night Friday from Biloxi to get home. I had a lot of baseball stuff with the kids. I tried to do the fight Saturday night, couldn't do it. I was dead, Jillian. I was so dead. So I said, L, my trump card is if I try to talk us into doing work, fight banana stuff on Saturday after driving through the night, just say no. Your L takes leadership role. That's it. My second trump card, L. You ready? Never let me eat on the show again. Dude, I have a piece of fish stuck in the back of my teeth. I can't get it right
I
now.
was gonna ask if you needed to go to the bathroom,
Dude,
G, and I could take
it's
the
so
show for 10
horrible. It's like back there. Never let me eat again. I don't even know who brought this to me and why they brought it to me, but it was a fish sandwich. I was very hungry, so it was worth it. But what a bad idea. That's horrible.
When I first popped in, I was going to be like, this is great podcasting right here.
I don't
Just eating a fish sandwich.
dude. Hey, we're big time, G. You know what I mean? Big time.
Yes.
All right. So Anchor Live off the board. Anything else on the 313? G, Ignacio, Gaethje, Van, Francis
Rufy.
Marshall.
Rufy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
Rufy. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess to bring up a point we were talking about earlier with like watching other sports, there was a little clip that I saw of Rufy talking on Ariel Helwani saying how he credits his fakes and how he was able to set up his knockout to Neymar in soccer because he was inspired by his fakes. So I'm like, I just found that very interesting. He's taking the way that he's faking with the soccer ball and utilizing it and being able to set up a beautiful 50K knockout.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool. He
Yeah.
does have a very unique, like really early in the fight, he was like so low. Like for how tall he is, he got super, super low. And I was like, this is strange to see.
I definitely think he's probably the most, I don't want to say most talented out of the fighting
Okay.
nerds, but he's the most like artistic. You know, he's
Out of the 4G fighting nerds, you got Kaio, you got Ruffy, Lord Gene Silva, and Carlos Prats, who's like being forgot right now, who just murdered Neil Magny a couple months ago. Out of those 4, who becomes, or if any, if you had to guess, who becomes the first world champion out of those 4?
who I think Kaio's on a better path right now.
Okay.
But I love them all, honestly. I really, like you said, Protz gets forgotten, but I love him. I think Protz is an
Yeah.
absolute monster in there.
Murderer.
Then I think Rufy, like I said, is very artistic, like more than the others. Like he's gonna be the one throwing like the spinning back kicks and a little bit more, I guess when I say talented, maybe I mean like athletically talented. He's just a little bit more agile, I feel like. But and then obviously, I don't know if they're all Lord Silva, his last fight, then we got him fighting Bryce Mitchell, and I can only wait to see what happens. I think it's April 12th with that. I've said it a million times, I feel like, in the last month. I'm here for every Fighting Nerds fight.
Yeah. To me, I think it's Gene Silva. I think that's like, he is a bull in a china shop. Like he's like coming forward with just ferocity and power, and just there's no stopping that guy. I think he's going to beat Bryce Mitchell and have such a spotlight on him. I think like he fights Lopez or Mozart next. Like after that, I really think he's that put him up there. And if he keeps going, he's 2 fights away from a championship.
Well, they wonon't give Mozart a title shot no matter how many fights he wins. So
I
can see that.
He has to go 40-0 in MMA, first ever. He has to go 40-0.
Since you have such a fascination with the Fighting Nerds, I want to ask you kind of a difficult question. So every time we see the Fighting Nerds, it's like, oh, they're 18-0 in the UFC, blah blah blah. They leave out a couple people that are also on the Fighting Nerds teams, and these are the ladies, who definitely will bring the average down a little bit on wins. So here's my question. I don't know much about the gym beyond the handful of the UFC fighters who train there. I don't know if you know more. Do you think maybe it is not a good gym for female fighters, or those specific fighters perhaps? Because Bruna Brazil has had mixed results I know this was her first camp with them, but Mayra Bueno Silva moved back to Brazil, did this last whole camp and several months with the Fighting Nerds before this fight. What are your thoughts on that overall?
Well, I guess you kind of said they're both kind of new to the Fighting Nerds. So that's what my thought around that.
Brazil's been there a long time.
She's had 2 fights with them, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, from what I'm not 100% sure, but I believe she only has 2 fights with the Fighting Nerds. And the first one she actually really impressed me, honestly, is when she fought Molly McCann. And I feel like she went out there. She looked very prepared. It was the first fight where I was like, oh, this girl is going in there with direction. Like she was just prepared for whatever Molly had coming at her. So I think, and then same with Mayra Bueno Silva, kind of a short term with them, just left ATT going to them. It's like she didn't really, they haven't had chance to build them as much as they have the boys, I don't think. And even Bruna Brazil's last fight was on, I believe, 2 weeks notice. It was short notice for her. She took it up a weight class. So I don't think that was the best depiction of her as well. So I'm like, I think it's just the boys have been with them longer. The boys have they've really developed the boys, where the females just have been with them for a camp or 2 at this point because they see something good happening over there.
I always wonder too, because I know we have the same thoughts on this, but like training with boys is very different. If you are in a gym where you are one of just 1 or 2 girls, it can be really, really difficult because women fight so much differently than men. And I know you love having your ladies down at Goat Shed. I love having my ladies at ATT. So I always am very curious if they have other girls there or if it's just a handful as well,
Well, that being said, I primarily train with boys, honestly. Like I do once. This week, I actually flew a girl down here for me this week to kind of be a good look. But typically, I have 1 sparring day with girls a week, and then the rest of the week, I'm going with boys. I feel like it's like they do fight you different, but in the end of the day, they are going to give you more of a push. They're going to they typically are stronger and more athletic when you are going with a boy. So it's like they can push you in ways where a female can't necessarily. So I usually don't go with a lot of females. I'm typically going with guys more than anything else.
It's funny you said that, Al. I mean,
I just said apparently the Fighting Nerds are moving to New Hampshire.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. I saw that comment. I didn't see that.
Maybe more American fighters will train there.
I'm kind of curious to see if they welcome. Like they have such a cool thing, especially with those 4 guys. Like, are they gonna dilute or water themselves down? But what I was getting, we control buttons. We can go big and long. I made you big on the screen. I got a screen here, and I saw I want the person who gave you that shiner right now, so I could take care of him or her, so we could keep our winning streak going. Okay, G, who was it?
I don't know what happens. I bruise so easily, honestly. I feel like every time I spar, I will sit on top of a girl for 15 minutes and come out with a black eye.
Yeah.
Every single time. I'm like, I don't know how. But today, like I said, I flew a girl down here for me this week. Her name's Anna Crutchfield. She fights for
yeah.
We had breakfast. Remember we had breakfast that Anna with remember it was the teapot with David Evans and we couldn't get to work.
Yeah, exactly. Her. Forgot about that even. But yeah, so she fights for Fury FC currently. I believe she's 3-1 as a pro.
Really talented fighter. Yeah.
Very talented. I met her actually at Wonder Boy School years ago. She grew up boxing and kickboxing, then wanted to start MMA, so started training at Wonder Boy School. She's 27, I believe, so super young, super talented, great kickboxer, and great look for this fight. So that's who gave me the pretty eye.
Dude, I think this is a good compliment. I think I can give this to a younger lady. She has like 27 abs. Am I wrong on that, G? She has the best abs.
Yeah. She's someone I honestly have no idea how she makes 15 every time. I'm like, she's a big girl and she's absolutely shredded. Like she says 20 abs. Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, she has power. I'm pretty sure she has the same management team as me. I'm pretty sure she's managed by Iridium because I think that's how I found her. Because I don't typically just go watch, I watch a lot of MMA, but I'm not usually sitting on my couch on a Thursday to watch regional MMA on UFC Fight Pass. And I'm pretty sure I saw her pop up on Iridium's page and was like, huh. And I went and looked her up and like, she's got knockouts. She's like putting girls away, like really, really
on Gillian's page.
Huh?
You know, maybe a picture of G and her together. You're like, hey, wait, G's my co-host. I got to see what's going on. And then boom.
I haven't been on Instagram very much this week.
Unbelievable. Talking about that, I think it's a great question. I think the fans will actually like to hear this, and as much detail as you want, G, or as much as least as you want. When you say you fly someone in, what does that? What does that do? Like, do you have to pay for her flight? Do you have to put her up? Do you have to pay her for the week of work? Where does that all come in sum?
Everything.
Okay.
Yes. Pay her for the week of work, pay for her flight, pay for her place to stay, make sure, like, take care of everything. But it's like, it's what I got to do to make sure that I'm getting the right.
Is there usually a flat fee for that, or is that negotiable? How does that work?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of fighters don't really expect to get paid, but I feel like that's how you keep training partners like that are going to keep coming and helping you. So I'm like, I feel like, especially on a low level pro, I feel like, this is how I would have been. And I feel like this is how most of my friends are, of being like, oh yeah, sure. I'd love to fly to Miami to come train. Like, why not? Like chill for a week, come fight and come train with like someone who it's like, obviously we're good work for each other. So I feel like a lot of fighters don't exactly expect to get paid. So it's definitely negotiable. But I feel like, like I said, as a low level pro, it's something that I feel like you're more like I would be just more thankful for if I did get paid, So I'm like, it's definitely not something I guess most fighters expect.
Well, and that's awesome. It definitely, like you said, it helps when you live in Florida, because I remember, and this was part of the reason we ended up moving to Florida. I remember when we were living in Lee Summit, Missouri, and training at Glory, we were trying to pay people to come in for Grant, and nobody wants to go on a vacation to Missouri. But when it's nice, sunny Florida, it's definitely a lot easier to be like, hey, paid vacation in South Florida at a really cool gym.
Yeah.
Definitely doesn't hurt.
That. Like,
well, it's like a lot of times she'll be coming in like this week. It's like she's my drilling partner. It's not for her work. So it's like that's why I'm like, I feel the need to pay her, I'm like, she's here for me. She's just doing work for me. And then it's like after that, I'm like, you can train with everybody else if you want. I'm gonna go do cardio.
Okay. Like,
that's cool.
With that being said, do you can a fighter, especially on the regional scene, because dude, we talk about this all the time, it's so tough. People don't even understand. Even when you're just in the UFC for the first year or two, it's really tough to be like, hey, this is all I'm doing. It's a lot of obstacles for sure, and you want to make sure you got a couple wins in the belt, you got the second contract working, so on. But to me, that's like a great way for a regional guy or girl who's fighting on Fight Pass, really close to, like you said, kind of get an extra payday in, or a little bit of the week. And also, I'm not even joking about that. Like, it is great publicity to, whatever, training with you. You might post her up, Goat might post her up, her name's out there. That's just how the world works, right? Elle is seeing something on your page. Oh, they see her. Like, that's how you kind of build your following and your brand. So I think it's a win-win-win for all parties, I think.
Yeah. Actually, when I was, I think like 22, 20, it was when I first got into the UFC. I was like 22, 23. There was a girl who contacted Mike Brown, and she was looking for a good grappler. And so he offered it to me, and she flew me out to Rome for 3 weeks. So I lived out in Rome for 3 weeks with her.
You got paid good?
Yeah, she paid me to go out there, paid for my flight, and then I lived with her. She had an extra bedroom.
What?
So
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, that opportunity, I was like, okay, for
Yeah.
sure.
Free vacation to Italy?
To Rome?
Did you get to travel? Obviously, you were there for her. I'm sure you prioritized her training, but like, did you get to explore at least some?
Yeah, it's like, obviously she was from there. She's a local, so she took me around. So it's like, she showed me like everything. So, and like, she had her little scooter. I was just riding on the back of it. It was amazing.
That sounds
Dude,
amazing.
that's the best thing ever. Last question, G, and we'll let you go. It says, G, do you ever miss the Canadian winters?
I think those are the reason I'm still in Florida.
Wow. There we go, guys.
I like warm.
I will say this for Buffer: the one, the only Gillian the Savage Robertson here under the Fight Has banner. Guys, if you haven't watched it, Sunday morning, the best thing under our banner, Sunday morning brew with G and L. G, you're the best. We'll talk soon. All right, friend.
See you.
There we go. Gillian Savage Robertson.
I have to admit, Sunday morning was a little dicey.